Hello, YouTube. We're in my kitchen instead of out in the garden, and I hope that the camera stays where I put it. We will see. So the reason we're in here instead of out in the garden is because I wanted to do a quick video. Well, it might not be quick, but I wanted to do a video about the different garden journals that I've used leading into what I'm going to start doing this year, which is just going full on and using the bullet journal method for my garden journal. I've not ever just full on done that before. I've bullet journaled since 2012 maybe. I don't remember. It's been a while for my daily life stuff, but and in that I would keep track of things in the garden, but the garden journal was always a separate thing. And it just clicked the other day. I was like, duh, it's perfect for that. So that's what this video is going to be about. First, I'm going to show you what I did last year. I'm going to show you the book that I started this year that's already almost full, which led me to think, okay, so pick a regular journal and try sticking with bullet journaling as your way of tracking and planning in the garden this year. So I'm committed to do this for the rest of the year and that'll give me an idea about whether or not I want to continue using it this way. But also, the wonderful thing I think about bullet journaling is how adaptive it is. It's a very flexible method for staying organized, and so it's perfect for using in the garden, I think. I'm going to find out for sure though this year. Because I make these videos to document. I know 20 years from now I'm going to watch the first video of this garden at this house and just be blown away. I'm very excited about that. And the difference, that many years is, even 10 years from now, it's going to be a huge difference, and I'm excited about that. But having this written record, it's much more detailed because I only do these videos like once a month, maybe a couple times a month at the most, which is good enough for having pictures of what's going on. But when I want to document, like this year, I'm trying something new where I'm going to document, I write down the date of each iris as it opens. So I have kind of an idea of which ones come first and which ones are later bloomers and all that kind of stuff. Because when I move them and plant them in a different place, that way I can try to spread it out differently so that the early bloomers are spread among all of them and the late bloomers are spread among, so I don't have like a whole bunch of color here and then a whole bunch of color here. I can try to like keep it all spread out. That's my idea. Of course, being in a different spot and having a different amount of sunshine and all that may change when they bloom. I don't know, but it's my best attempt. This is my plan. Anyway, so I'm keeping track of when the iris is open. That's not something I want to document with a video. I'm just going to write it down in my book. And then the stuff I do every day in the yard, I try to write down what I did. Because I've moved a lot of plants around already this year. I've planted a lot of things. I did all that work in the front beds, which I haven't shown you guys yet, so that's coming. Hopefully we're going to get some mulch this week. And if we get the mulch this week, then I will make a video. I'm waiting for the mulch. It doesn't look great right now. Well, it's pretty awesome, but the mulch is going to make it look better. So, most of the work I do today is going to be prepping for that because there's a few areas still that I need to really work on to get that ready for mulch. All right, so I'm going to switch the camera angle and hope that I don't shake too much because I don't have a good way to keep this particular camera pointing down. Like I don't have a structure that's sturdy enough to hold it. So I will be holding it with my hand and just trying to make sure I don't wiggle too much. Wish me luck. Okay, here we go. We're going to switch angles. And you get to see my kitchen really fast. See? Isn't that fast? This is our table. It's stained. It's metal. And so that's just stained. It's not a big deal. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is show you, this book, which I made sorry guys. Okay. It's got kind of a canvas cover. I made this book and used it for keeping notes at different Master Gardener classes I went to and putting the handouts from them. But then I also put all of the tags from plants that I purchased here. And this is all from Springfield, from the garden at the house in Springfield. I pressed some flowers and put them in here, but the stuff I used to stick them down makes the pages stick together, so that's why this little thing is in here. There's some more of these tags, and then here are my diagrams of the yard. So at that house there was a shed and all these different beds, and I just labeled them by letter, and then I did a breakdown of what was in each bed by letter. Yeah, and this came in handy a lot. I used this a lot. And then I started using this here, and this is why I'm showing you this. When I planted out all the irises that I purchased at the first iris sale I went to in Springfield, in St. Louis, I listed them all out here. Very few of these actually survived, and I don't know which ones. There's a few right in here that have survived, but I don't know specifically which ones until they bloom, because I have their colors written down. I still have all the tags from these, actually. So that's what's in this book. Okay. So that was my the first one that I could find. This is what I used last year, and it's kind of a mess right now because I've been using it, like going through and trying to figure out what everything was. And this kind of book construction that I made, it's a lap journal because of the size. And it's Kathy Orta is the one that created this thing, and I think the pattern for this book is what she created. And I think originally the idea was to have one of those advent calendars in a book for Christmas, so there were all these different pockets and things for putting whatever it was you were going to uncover each day leading up to Christmas. But I decided to use one with all those pockets because I could keep all of my tags and things in there. So one of the things I did was I wrote down "1/6 pot." I'm not sure what that's supposed to be about. 16. 16. Is that what that's supposed to be? No, that can't be right. See, I thought what I'd written down on here was oh, 16, the year 16. Duh, Lucinda. So these are all tags from last year. That's not what I thought I wrote down on those. I thought I wrote down how many of each of those things I got. But I guess not. And this is all notes from the Gesneriads. Okay, so here is the irises I planted from the iris sale last year, and these are all the little tags from it. And it's come in handy because Devil David has bloomed. World of Color probably won't bloom this year. Telepathy is about to bloom. I'm not sure. I think that's supposed to be Wind Beneath My Wings. And I just mixed up. The Dumbledore bloomed first. Awesome. This guy has not bloomed. The Red Hot Chili Pepper. Cat's Eyes has not bloomed yet. Cape Cod Boy is blooming. And then of course I've got the plants that are behind those listed there as well. And so I did all of this last year, so that's why it's in this. But I've been referring to it this year to remind myself which irises are which. So I'm showing you this because my intentions were... Gosh, I hope you could really see everything I just did. I wasn't looking in the right place. Okay, my intentions were that I would, throughout the year, as well as keeping all the tags and things, I would make diagrams like this. And I did. They're all shoved in this pocket back here. But I thought I would have the different compartments here would be for the different, see, I even started like naming them. East side of house, front walk beds, plants on porch, and have it all sectioned off and document what happened. And my thought was that sometime over the winter I would sit down and go through all this and get it the way I wanted. And it's May and I haven't done that. I'm accepted that I'm probably not going to do that. So I don't want such a complicated system this year. I just want a place where I can keep a record. So what I did was I took this book that was made for me in an art swap that I participated in. And I knew whenever I got this book that I wanted to use it as a garden journal. Sorry, I keep moving the camera, guys. I'm trying to find a good way to hold it. But I've just filled it up too fast because I'm really keeping very detailed notes. Okay, that's the back of it. Hold on. That's the front of it. And so I wrote down Cinco Garden 2017. I love this book. It's got a fairy tale theme going, but what I've been doing is stapling the tags to the pages where I write down about what I did with these plants, right? So, I've been trying to remember to write down what date I did what I did, and I staple those tags in there. The problem with this is twofold. I'm using the book up too fast. But also, some of these plastic things are, like this one, they're not going to stick like this. So I also drew diagrams. And I've been using these colored pencils that have multiple colors because I love them. I'm such a child, but I don't care. I think they're awesome. Anyways, that's why they're so colorful. I love it. So I've been keeping a diagram of what I've done in the front. This is a more broken down specific diagram for the back. Still documenting what I've been doing. So I have just, a few pages. And then back here, this is where I've been keeping track of the irises, what days they bloom. So I will probably fill these remaining pages up this week. And knowing that, I decided to go ahead and get the other journals started. So I picked out this one from my shelf. And I have this, my mom gave me a bunch of her scrapbooking stuff, and in that were a bunch of journals, and this was one of the ones I kept because I wanted to use it and she hadn't yet. So Cinco Garden Journal 2016. And the way bullet journaling works is normally you would go through and you'd number all the pages, and then over here you'd have an index where you wrote down, like since I started May here, that would be page 1. So I'd write down May on page 1. So you could come to the index and refer and know which page to flip to go straight to the thing. I intend to use, and well, I have them and I will do it, those little post-it stick tab things that stick up to keep track of where I am. And then I don't really care about flipping through the pages. So what I did was I started, tomorrow is the 8th. So I started with tomorrow and wrote it out all the days of the month through the 31st. You write down the date, and then you go through and you can put down the first initial of the day of the week that it is. Because that's also helpful, I think, in keeping track. So I went through, hopefully either Thursday or Friday this week, we're going to get mulch. So I wrote that down. This is Mother's Day. I'm going to have other things going on that day, so probably not going to be doing much in the garden. And then days when we're going to have company, I'm writing that down on there. Just so that whenever I'm looking at this to think about what to do on what day, I can look ahead. I also want to try to keep the forecast to some extent here. So like I will look up what the rest of the week's forecast is and just give myself little symbols and temperatures so that I have an idea of what days I could do which things. And then in the rest of this book, I will begin with the full-on bullet journaling. Part of what you do with bullet journals is lists. I should have brought down my regular bullet journal so you could see that. So what I'm going to do is each page is going to have, for the next few pages, will be a bed. So the west, the backyard, east bed would be here. And I can make a list of things I know I need to do. Like if I need to prune the crepe myrtles, or I need to add mulch, if there's anything left I need to move, or any plants that I know I still want to add to that bed. I will keep a list of that here, and I can check them off as I go. So each page would be a different bed, and I would make notes of all the things I would like to get done this year, and I can add to that as I think of new things and cross things off as they get done, or as I decide I don't want to do it. You can see my mom had this out sometime when she was around children. Anyways, but then also in here I would keep a record of what I do each day. I still have a few pages in that other book, so I'm going to do that in the other book until it's full, and then I'll start doing that in here, which is why I didn't set that up. But so what I would do is write down the date, the day and the date, and the weather, and then to start out with, I'm going to try doing it the way it's set up mostly for bullet journaling, which is where you make a list of what you need to do that day. I have a feeling it's going to gradually change to be more, I will write the date and the weather, and then I will do whatever it is I can get done and write down what I managed to get done. But I'm going to start out by trying the whole write down what I want to do, what I think I'm going to get done, like, you know, that kind of thing. Also, that will help, because if there's anything that specifically needs to be done that day, like today, I really need to get the rosemary in the ground, and I need to put the tomato plant that I've not managed to pot into its bucket. I haven't done that. I need to do that today. So that's got to happen. Yeah. So anyways, wish me luck with all of this, and I will do another video later in the summer, and you'll see the progression of this garden journal, and maybe that will help if you want to keep a garden journal and just haven't found a good method. Maybe this will help you with that. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Thank you for watching, and next video I will be outside and you will get to see the transformations. Thank you.